Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? Higher Learning is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel Lynn Lindsay.
Like, subscribe, and share the podcast on YouTube. Do it now. Brownie, what are you doing?
He likes you. Brownie's in the studio today.
Brownie's in the studio. Rachel doesn't take the podcast seriously.
It's not true. Those were his first words to me this morning not because I had Brownie, because I was laying down pee pads for Brownie.
Laying down
That's
pee
called
pads.
responsible.
Laying down pee pads. It is not. We at work, man. What's going on?
We're in the studio. This was last week too. You had nothing to say.
Man, let me bring. I didn't see you do
No,
it last
Bozeman
time.
is different.
Let me bring Bozeman in
Bozeman
this
is a
bitch.
whole human.
I'll bring Bozeman in
Brownie's
this
10
bitch.
pounds.
Fuck all of this shit.
He would too. He doesn't know his space.
But sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas.
You're ready. You're ready for Kendrick and Friends.
It's gonna be a big deal. You excited about it?
I'm excited. I'm either going to stream it or be there. Fingers crossed. Even though I hate going to SoFi or the Forum, because it's like one way in, one way out. The traffic is terrible. I always leave before the end of the show to try to beat it. It's just a lot.
Yeah. I'm just not good at it. The older I get, unless it's like a high leverage game or event of some sort, there's a moment where I wonder why I'm there.
I get that. I'm a concert lover. I've probably seen Kendrick at least 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard about this, I'm excited because there's surprises.
I mean, it's going to be a big show. It's going to be big. Do you have any predictions for who might show up or what might happen?
Definitely West Coasters. That's not the
So you
surprise.
think there'll be people from the West Coast there? Is what you're saying.
Like YG will be there.
There'll be some West Coast people there.
Snoop will be there.
Kendrick himself is from the West Coast.
Kendrick himself will be there.
Yeah.
All of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the others. I'm like, who would he bring out?
I'm making some predictions.
Okay.
Rihanna.
Oh my gosh.
I think Rihanna will be there.
I didn't even think. I was only thinking rappers. My mind wasn't even going to that.
I think Rihanna showing up there.
Now, I think a lot of stars will be in the building. You're saying she will be on stage.
I think he's going to bring Rihanna out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think Rihanna will be there. I think Rihanna popping out there is going to be a big deal.
Huge.
Because of anti-Drake sentiment and because of the fact that Rihanna and Kendrick have such great music together.
They do.
Rihanna's going to be there.
That's a good one.
Give us a prediction. Do it now.
I'm trying to think who he's collaborated with. SZA.
You're really going out on a limb with the prediction. How about give me...
Okay, well, it's Rihanna one.
Rihanna, that's a real prediction.
Okay, but she's a popular song right now out with Drake. SZA. So for him to bring her on, because they've collaborated together as well. Also, wasn't she under their label? Is she still under their label? I don't know. Is she still there?
Are you asking me if Rihanna's on? You know
Not
what?
Rihanna.
No,
SZA.
SZA. No, you're asking me if SZA's on TDE.
She is, right? She was.
Yeah, SZA's on TDE.
She still is.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
I
know she was.
Look, I'll be honest with you.
I don't know if she still is.
I'm not trying to be, but I just expect that people know that SZA's on TDE.
Honestly, I know that she was. If she still is, I don't follow that. I don't care.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you some people. I want you to tell me what
you want to do these quiz games to shame me, but I'm telling you, the rest of the audience, it's not just common knowledge that SZA's on TDE. I know she was.
It's not common knowledge that SZA's on TDE.
I know she was, but people change.
It's definitely common knowledge that SZA's on.
Well,
when you say people will change, you mean like emotionally, or you mean like they change their
people switch labels.
They do. They switch up. People switch up all the time. SZA's on TDE.
Okay. Well,
let me ask you a question. True or false, sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas.
True.
When was the last time you popped out and showed niggas?
A couple of weeks ago.
What'd you do this weekend, fool?
I did. I went skating with the girls. We got our little crew. Actually, I went out a lot last week to the point where I was at EPLP on Saturday, and I was like, we were just here on Monday. Like, I was telling people, I was like, you got to try the hot dogs over there. They're really good. The churros are really good, too.
Hot dogs.
I love.
They got a good hot dog there at EPLP.
So good.
Okay. Shout out to EPLP.
Friday, I went to the champagne event. It was very good. It was at a house in the hills. Fun event with the girls. Saturday, skating with the girls.
Yeah.
Saturday night, went to support Niecy Nash and her wife, Jessica.
Love them.
Jessica turned her Niecy's Emmy speech into a song. It's really cute. I'm a winner.
Jessica's super talented.
Yeah. Very much so. And they're so cute. They're so in love.
They're one of the best couples in the whole town.
And can I just say,
Niecy is such a nice,
oh my gosh,
amazing light. To see her happy, to see Niecy and Jessica happy. And when you see them that they're happy, when you see them, they're one of the most functional, amazing couples in the town. I'm really happy for them.
It just, like, you feel it when you're there. And I have to say, it was Niecy's party, and she took time out of her party to give me words of encouragement. That shows, like, the type of person that she is. We are at the Abbey. It is loud. It is all about her. She sits me down to talk to me. That was, like, really meaningful. I also met, for the first time, I don't know why I haven't met her yet, but I was fanning out, Wendy Raquel Robinson.
Oh, yeah. She's great. I don't think I've ever met her, but she's a great person.
Love her.
Yeah.
And
I say great person, I mean great
she
actress
was giving me words. Like, to hear that women have gone through, in this town, Black women who have gone through similar things that I'm currently going through, to see them on the other side of it thriving, and then to take the time to encourage me, it's everything.
It made you emotional. You're getting emotional now.
I'm not emotional now, but it really was very meaningful. And to see that this keeps happening to women.
What? That they divorce white men?
No, neither one of them were with white men.
Interesting.
Neither one of them. It's not a Black-white thing. It's a successful woman versus a not as successful man.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm not saying anything that's not factual. Check the court pleadings. I didn't file them.
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
Rachel, let me tell you something.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Crackers too. That's what it really should be. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show crackers. You guys have been doing some teasing of Rachel this morning, but I'll tell you something. Do you know why people want to tell you that?
Why?
Because we love you.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Because we're very invested into your success, and not just your success, but your happiness. You're a person that exudes such grace and class and style and intelligence that everyone wants to see you be happy. And we don't want to see this part of it like break you down or see you be sad or see you.
Thank
So
you.
everyone feels that way about you. So I would assume that there's so many other people who have that same feeling. I know they've reached out to me. Yo, is she all right? Yo, is she all right? Yo, is she single? And
not yo, is she single?
But yeah, so that's just like we don't want you to be down. We know that you deserve the best, the very best.
Thank you. Can we just like wrap up that moment, put a bow on it? That was so sweet, man. It was so nice. It was so nice.
I say the stuff that needs to be said.
It was really sweet. I'm every day I'm better. Every day I'm better. Like, I'm good. No, what make me really good is that playbook.
Playbook, yeah.
Into effect. It's gone by the wayside.
No, I already playbooked you with one person. We're not even gonna bring it up. But but you
did it, actually.
I absolutely did.
Because they DM'd me and said.
No, they DM'd you and said that because they are impatient and they couldn't wait for me to do. But that's a playbook and you're having fun. So just relax. Now, Saturday night I went to the Joe Biden, Barack Obama event.
I really am shocked you went. I heard about it and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Because your appearance there, to me, shows support.
Support for what?
Biden, the administration.
I do support the administration.
Okay, well I don't really hear you say that.
So I support the administration because the choice is binary and on the other side is Donald Trump.
Okay.
So I'll say this right now. I want Joe Biden to win. But I want to take the time and do something here.
Okay.
I want to take the time and acknowledge the protesters that were outside this event.
Oh, really?
I stopped to talk to them after. There was a large and sizable protest outside of the event, and a necessary one. And there's another event that they are having that I got a flyer for that I will be attending. I went to the event, number one, to be able to come back here and talk about it, but also I was invited by some very dear friends of mine, and I want to see how it is from their mouths up there on the stage, how they're viewing everything, or what it is that they're saying and how they're messaging. I want to hear it from them and not get it distilled through something else. There wasn't any meet and greets. You didn't get to meet anybody. It was a big venue and the whole nine. I had a great time with the people that I was with. Shout out to Cleo Wade and Simon Kimberg and Rob and Phil and everyone, and Grace. Like, so that was cool. What you got up there was a mix, to me, of the typical political talking points that you get and something like that. But then also some savvier messaging that came from the Democrats, and this is the Democratic establishment. This is the corporate Democrats messaging points that you're getting up there. Celebrities there, stuff like that. About Donald Trump himself, things that Donald Trump promised, things that Donald Trump didn't do, who Donald Trump is, and what the choice is in November. The contrast between what was happening outside and what was happening inside was stark.
I would imagine.
It was stark. Because outside, what you had was people, grassroots. They made their signs. They made the things that the stuff that they were giving out. It was real. It was raw. There was time. There was effort. There were a large contingent of Jewish people that were out there. They had put this together. There was passion. There was desperation. There was hope. There was a sense of authority. And when you cross that threshold, because you had to cross through them to go inside to the venue. When you crossed that threshold and you got inside, you saw, I think, in my opinion, there was a juxtaposition of like how the American political discourse goes. Like what some people are saying, and then what the other people that are in politics are saying, right? How desperate some people are, not just particularly for this issue with the slaughtering wholesale of women and children and people in Gaza and men in Gaza. I don't want to leave the men out. Women and children and men in Gaza, not just that, the destruction of the infrastructure there and the bombing out and what I believe to be the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, not just that, but people that are on fire, desperate, activated, engaged about other issues, about income inequality, about healthcare, about police brutality, about the environment. When you see and feel their energy and you try to compare and match it to the energy that comes from the politicians that you are choosing to represent you, what you want to see is either a link in the importance of those issues or in the feeling and the energy of those issues, or that they understand the people outside. And that didn't come across.
It didn't come across that they were understanding.
No, I mean, there was one person inside who mentioned the protest, and it was George Clooney. George Clooney got up there and he introduced everything, and he goes, I've been arrested for protesting before. I've been arrested for thrown in jail for it, and it's a very important part of it to make sure that he gave some power to the protesters that were outside. I personally would have probably enjoyed a more robust mention of what was happening, but it was a Democratic fundraiser. They raised a lot of money.
Oh, I saw that on the news.
Yeah, they raised a lot of money. Gavin Newsom was there. Probably wasn't. I want to see mainstream politicians acknowledge, not just in a photo op, but energetically, emotionally, intellectually, the issues, complaints, problems, and concerns of grassroots organizers, large swaths of Americans who feel that their voices aren't being heard on this issue and on other issues too.
Did you think that you were going to get that when you went there?
No, but going to the event, I think the important thing is what you're going to come away with. And the messaging and the way they're positioning themselves it's always good to see President Obama, if for no other reason, he was dope. He didn't drone anybody, but it's always good to see him. I don't have any problem with Obama, you guys, but he's the president, imperfect guy for what it is. But it was great to see President Obama. He's still an inspirational figure in my life. He's still a person that I have a huge degree of reverence for. I still feel warm and fuzzies when I see him. It was great to see him up there. He's talking to him. Biden and Kimmel had a talk. It's great to see those guys. But I don't feel the same about politics that I used to. I don't feel about politics at all. I feel about people. And politics are a conduit to being able to deal with the issues and problems of people. And it felt like, roundabout way of saying it, that it was people outside and politics inside.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
I'm glad I went.
Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Where was it?
Is that the Peacock Theater.
So West Side.
It's downtown.
Oh. I don't live here. I mean, I haven't lived here long. Sorry.
Sometimes you gotta. That's when you say it. Sometimes you gotta. Not happening. Okay, on the other side of this break, we're gonna talk about Bill Maher a little bit.
All right. Bill Maher. He's at it again, man. He doesn't stop. You used to be a fan. Do you still regularly watch the Bill Maher show?
Yes. I watch it all the time.
Okay, you still watch it. He's changed a lot.
Yeah, he said he hasn't changed at all.
I know. He says he hasn't changed, but as I said at the beginning, he's at it again. And this week, his guest was your friend, Charlamagne the God.
Yeah.
Along with Ana Navarro and Joel Stein. And he was interviewing Charlamagne, and they had this back and forth on a few things. But the part that stood out is the pushback, or should I say the shock it seemed Bill Maher had when he and Charlamagne were having this back and forth.
One of the more controversial things he said to the graduating class that you have to be 10 times as good to get a fair shot in America. And can I read what Glenn Lowry and John McWhorter, you listen to their podcast, I think they're great, said about this. Lowry said, I thought it was the kind of speech you'd have given in 1974, maybe 1984, but not in 1924. McWhorter, for goodness sake, can we please admit the time passes? I remember my mother saying that in the 70s when it still made sense. It's simply not true anymore, and we should celebrate that. You agree with that?
I don't know if it's 10 times better, but maybe 5.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
You think you have to be 5 times?
Yeah, when you black in America, absolutely.
In 2024?
Yeah, when you're black in America, when you're a woman in America, if you're a black woman in America, absolutely.
I think that's a zombie lie.
Why?
Because I just don't think that's America anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, okay, first let's do a couple of things.
All right.
The thought that that's not America anymore, I can understand how he would think that.
Why? Because we're repealing things that were put in place to combat the very thing that Charlamagne was saying? No,
because I'm going to be as charitable to Bill. Actually, I'm going to take this in.
No. One more time.
I'm going to be as charitable to Bill as I can.
Okay.
I can understand how he would think that, right? Obviously, there's been progress for Black people.
Sure.
Obviously, there's been progress. There seems to be some sort of, at least, cultural parity that exists. It seems that way. Very visible Black people, very successful Black people. As a matter of fact, in this back and forth later on, he goes on to talk about Serena Williams and LeBron James and Michael Jordan and all of that. What did you think about what he said before I get into what I thought?
I don't agree that I can give him anything towards that. For him to say a zombie lie, which I had never heard that phrase, but I guess it's a term that he coined. This isn't a lie that's being told over and over again. Statistically, that's the case. And even if, to give what I said when I was like, oh, are you saying that because, certain things that were put in place because there was discrimination and disparity between whites and Blacks or whites and minorities are being taken back? Is that why you're saying that? Because one can make the argument, oh, we don't need them anymore. Like a Bill Maher would say, well, we don't really need those anymore because we seem to be more equal, but the numbers don't show that. In fact, there seems to be, the term white backlash.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be what's evident every single time, or the need every single time that if I take what Bill Maher is saying is true, right? We don't need it anymore because Black people don't have to try 5 times as hard because we're equal, is what he's saying in a sense. That's not true because of the outrage, the white backlash that comes up every single time Black people try to succeed or try to do something better, try to move towards some type of racial equality. You can go all the way back to the Tulsa race massacre.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back to the civil rights movement. You can go back to 2020 with the response from America in regards to George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. Every single time there seems to be this progress, you have this white backlash where people seem to act out and fight against it as people try to move towards Black people try to move towards equality or racial justice in America. Statistically, you can look it up, whether it's a Gallup poll, whether it's the EEOC, that 1 in 4 Black people are still discriminated against. And of those 1 in 4 Black people, 75% of them say it is based on their race. Discrimination is still, I'm just going to speak from the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Discrimination is still huge in the workforce. So if that is true, based on these numbers statistically from Black employees that have been polled, then there's a disparity that exists in the work environment, whether that's because of promotion, whether that's because of pay, whether that's because of harassment, whether that's because of some type of mistreatment. It exists.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers are there, still as we exist to this day, which means if you're in the workforce, you have to try harder, whether it's 2, 3, 5 times. I don't care what number you want to put on it. You have to try harder to beat those statistics. That's a fact. So you can't say that it's a zombie lie, whether you're looking at it historically or whether you're looking at it now. And I'm just talking it from one industry, which is the workforce.
Right. So I'm going to give a statistical analysis that I think holds a little water.
Okay.
All right. So once again, I could see how someone could think that. The first thing I'll say to Bill Maher is, or to anyone that uses that, is he used the talented 10th fallacy, which is, look at all of these people and how marketable. He was talking about, this bled into Caitlin Clark and all of that stuff. Look how marketable, all of these people are. Look how successful all of these Black people are and all of that. Particularly for people like Bill Maher, who might have a couple of Black heroes, they look at Black people or their Black luminaries and go, oh, this is evidence of Black cultural upward mobilization. This is what I would say. This conversation took place in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So conversation took place in Los Angeles. All right. In Los Angeles, where this conversation took place, when we're talking about how much harder Black people have to work, what do you think the median income of a white family is?
In Los Angeles?
No, excuse me, not median income. What do you think the median wealth of a white family in Los Angeles is?
Wealth?
Yeah. How much?
200.
So it's $355,000. Doing good in Los Angeles. What do you think the median wealth of a Black family in Los Angeles is?
90.
It's $4,000.
Oh my God. Oh, because we're talking wealth here.
Talking about what you have.
Yeah.
It's
your worth.
What you're worth. Okay, so it's $4,000.
Jesus.
Okay. So I got some more numbers for you. So what does that tell me when we're talking about how hard you got to work? When you have less in America, you have to do more, right? You have to get things funded. You have to work harder. You have to make different ways to get to school. You can't get to and from there. Thinking about all of that stuff that money encapsulates. How you get from to and from where you're going. When you're trying to go to school, how you're going to pay for school. Do you have to incur more debt? When you're attempting to buy uniforms for work, when you're attempting to do various things that you need money to do, you have to find a way to do them. That means that you have to either take more risk at a job, do something differently. Okay. So I looked at all of these numbers because I looked at an interesting number going back and forth with a friend of mine trying to convince him that Boston was a racist city. I looked up the median wealth for white people and black people in Boston. I looked that up. Boston lower than Los Angeles, $248,000. Median white family wealth in Boston. Median white family wealth in Boston, $248,000. What would you think is the median black family's wealth in Boston?
$5.
$8. Not $8,000. $8. So you know, in Boston, major American city, the median wealth for white people, median wealth, what they have, is $248,000. The median wealth for what a black family has is $8. So when we're talking about how much harder you have to work, how much harder your life is, what you have to overcome, and someone tells you it's a zombie lie, it's not borne out in reality. It's just not true. Now, that doesn't mean that what we have to do is sit around and point fingers. No, we got to get to work on our behalf to coalesce and put things together and do all of that. It's a problem that's only going to get fixed if we fix it, because trying to compel somebody else to fix it for us is not going to work. And we have to do that, and we have to overcome. And they're, like, to your point, they're trying to stop us from doing that by going at things like the Fearless Fund, by trying to take down anything
DEI.
all of that's right. So, but that's something that we have to do. But the numbers are real. So I looked at this all over the place. In New York, $276,000. There's for white people. For black people, $18,000. Chicago, not as bad. $82,000 median white family wealth. Median black family wealth, $36,000. Houston, $250,000, right? Median white family wealth, $27,000 for black people. So some of these other cities aren't quite as bad. When you add all of that up in those four major American cities, the white families have 11 times the wealth that black people have. 11 times the wealth in those four major American cities. So I did something. I was like, okay, these are cities that are predominantly white, right? Like all of them. I was like, I'm going to go to Twitter and I'm going to ask black people, what are the 5 best black cities to live in? All right. DC, Charlotte, Houston, and Atlanta were the cities. In none of these cities is there parity. That doesn't exist, right? Like, Charlotte actually, for what everyone was talking about, for all of these cities, Charlotte actually is a city where black people are doing pretty well. $300,000 of median wealth for black people in Charlotte.
Compared to what for white people?
$1.3 million. $1.3 million bucks.
Like that.
DC, $284,000 for white people to $3,500 for black people. Houston, we already talked about it. It's in there. That was one of the ones. And then Atlanta, the Black Mecca, where everyone talks about. It's $83,000 of median wealth for white families and $28,000 for black people. All right. So if you add up all of those numbers, it's about 5 times. So I could argue that in the cities that Charlamagne probably visits a lot, when he's talking to black people, when he said 5 times, actually didn't kind of pull that number out of his ass. It's 5 times with these numbers. With the numbers from the other cities, it is 11 times. People also brought up Baltimore. In Baltimore, black people have $0 of wealth. It's $60,000 median income for white residents, white families, white households in Baltimore. $0 of wealth for black people. Now, look, I throw all these numbers out to say this. It's not to make victimization cool. It's not to make we can't get over the hump cool. But it's to contextualize what I feel like is trying to be decontextualized right now in some intellectual conversation, which is the actual history and the current reality of the disparity between the black experience and the white experience in America. Whiteness is very uncomfortable with us discussing it. David Dennis was brilliant on Caitlin Clark. David Dennis is brilliant. I hope everyone's listening to David Dennis. The conversation is always about whiteness, and while we're uncomfortable discussing it in America, what undergirds it, what buoys it, what keeps it at the top. We don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk about these numbers, and if you say things like 5 times more, 10 times more, the disparities, you have to have a conversation about whiteness, and America doesn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
The Caitlin Clark conversation is really just a conversation about whiteness, right? I mean, if I told you right now that part of the reason why Serena Williams was such a big deal and part of the reasons why Tiger Woods was such a big deal, or part of the reasons why Simone Biles is such a big deal, if I told you right now part of the reason is because they're Black, of course it is, right? Like they're being represented in places where we're not typically used to them seeing them represented. And part of the thing is...
dominate.
And dominant, right? Dominant, right? Dominant is actually the right word. You're actually right. So part of it is, hey, this is a Black woman, this is a Black man, this is a Black sister, and that's okay to say, right? But when you say part of the reason why somebody is so appealing to this side is white people want to say, no, that's not a part of it. Because in order to justify these numbers, they have to sell American meritocracy. And when they're selling American meritocracy, they want to say that you have $0 of wealth if you're Black in Baltimore and it's your fault. When we know that that's not true.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
The real thing that Bill Maher doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to take any cultural responsibility.
Of course.
And it's not his fault, but I'm talking about even historical cultural responsibility for the disparity that exists.
Yeah.
And the reason is that disparity exists is because of a long set of rules, both codified and unspoken, that needed to maintain these types of numbers. And to see that they are still this way, there are all kinds of cities in here that I left out because it was too ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
To see that it is still this way now, when we're being told that everything is equal, it's breathtaking. Mm-hmm. And nobody's trying to wallow in this, but what we're trying to do is correctly contextualize it so we can fix it.
And I'm not going to add much to what you said because all of that was really great. I do have an issue with Bill Maher saying it because I think that it's lazy for him to say that because I think he's smarter than that to know that, to me, it is very obvious that there is a disparity. And to your point, is something that he doesn't want to acknowledge it because white people don't want to feel bad. Right? It's the same reason. It's the same argument that they're making for wanting to take certain historical things out of history books. They don't want to be told to feel bad. That's really what it comes down to for me. But the other thing that I have an issue with, and something you kind of touched on with what Bill Maher said, is he's almost saying it like, that's not true. That's a zombie lie about the have to work 5 times harder. Because he's also almost pointing out that we're using that as an excuse. And I just want to say that I was told that, right? Growing up, I'm sure you were too. But it wasn't so we could sit back and blame white people and say, we don't have this because it's harder for us. It was to instill in us that it is not equal for you in this country and you have to work hard. Right. You have to work harder. It was more of a positive reinforcement than it was, if that's the right word.
It was to instill a specific work ethic.
Exactly. And so when I hear Bill Maher talk about it, it's almost as if it's like you guys are using this as an excuse to be lazy, or maybe what other white people would say. You're using this as an excuse as to why you aren't on our level, when historically we know that's not the case, when we know that that's not the case right now. And that's not what our parents were doing for us. They were trying to encourage us and give us the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, the reality was, if you got to walk to work, walk.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got to do it, do it. I mean, nobody's going to, you're not coming from that. You got to go build it if you want it. And if you don't want it, fuck it. Go fuck off. But if fuck your life off. But if you gonna do it, you got to go and build it. And you're going to probably have to build it from the ground up. Last thing I'll say is a lot of these numbers come back down to home ownership.
For sure.
Right. And so when you think about home ownership, which is something that we can delve into deeply, right? When you think about home ownership and why Black Americans own homes that are less valuable and not at the rate of white people. When you think about home ownership, I want you to think about a couple of things here. Number one, think about structural barriers to home ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Think about where the homes are that Black people wanted to buy, and could they buy homes there? Think about the time that they were trying to buy these homes and how they were impacted. And also think about one other thing. Think about white terrorism. Think about the fact that Black home ownership in Oklahoma overall was affected by the Tulsa Race Massacre.
Right.
Think about other places where Black people were picked up and forced to move out of homes and into other places because they were moved out of these places because of terrorism, because of racism, because of white people saying no to them. So think about the stunted growth that would have happened from the early 1900s on up to 1960.
Can we go back a little bit?
Yeah.
Because when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, 2 years later, the KKK was created.
Right.
And then you had, so we're talking 1863,
right.
1865, you're talking Reconstruction era, and then the KKK, you talking about white terrorism, terrorizing these Black folks, running them out of towns, elected offices, out of their businesses. So back before, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're absolutely right. And when you consider the history of this, right, consider the fact that it's not as long ago as you think that it is. And typically when you're talking about something that's economic, a trend that you're observing that's economic. When you think about that, it's not as long ago as you think that it is. Like the boom of the American industry, the true boom to where we took over is post-World War II. That's within the lifetime of people who are making movies right now, right? It's post-World War II. Not to say that we didn't have a thriving, robust economy that was buoyed by many different industries before then. I'm talking about American worldwide dominance. It's post-World War II. That ends in 1945. My grandmother was born in 1938. Sorry, my mom. So when you think about these things, they're not as long ago as you think they are. And they take time to change them. That is very true. But it's also took time to build them.
Yeah.
So the conversation with Mar or anybody else when Black people are talking about that, it seems like it's an attack on America. It's not. It's like saying discussing lung cancer is an attack on the cigarette industry. I mean, if you're in the cigarette industry, I'm certain that you would take it as an attack.
Sure, it affects your industry.
It affects you. All we're saying is that cigarettes cause lung cancer. And either you want to hide that fact so you can keep making cigarettes, or you want to cure people from cancer. So you change the way the shit goes. So anyway, so look, it's not a zombie lie. It's not.
We got to get you on Bill Maher.
Whatever. It'll never happen.
I don't think you want to.
Violent crime is down.
Wouldn't have known it if I hadn't read these articles.
Let's talk about something real quick. You know, we just got into a statistical analysis of Black wealth and poverty. We didn't talk about income, and we didn't talk about other disparities. We just talked about how easy it is to exist in a country that's based around economics, capitalism, and what you have. When you don't have stuff, how much harder that is to get stuff done. But you know, data matters. And if you guys don't think data matters, it's going to be very difficult to have conversations where we can quantify how things are going. All right, we're just not going to know. Everything is vibes now.
Everything is vibes. Everything is a conspiracy theory. Like, it's not true. Oh, you can't trust that. That's not true. How do you know?
So here's the thing. We had Cerise Castle on here one time, and Cerise Castle told us that crime was going down in America drastically post-2020. 2020 comes, crime goes up. Now, there are a lot of arguments about why crime went up.
Yeah.
A lot of arguments about it, right? Some of the arguments make sense. Some of them are nonsensical and ridiculous, okay? But as most people expected, crime is regressing to the pre-2020 mean. This year, in the United States, in the first 3 months of 2024, Violent crime dropped by 15%. The new numbers show violent crime from January to March dropped 15% compared to the same period in 2023. Murders fell by 26.4% and reported R words decreased by 25%. Aggravated assaults down 12%. Robberies down 17%. Property crime down 15%. Burglaries 16%. Motor vehicle theft 17%. These declines were seen in every single region of the United States. And we should say that one of America's major cities that's been experiencing an epidemic of crime, Philadelphia, experienced a pronounced drop in crime as well. Why is this important to say? It's not to tout the accomplishments of any one specific administration. It's so that we can have a realistic discussion about things. Because there are people that are going to run on the fact that America is living in a modern day purge. That you see videos of kids running into stores, ripping everything off the shelves and running out, and that's evidence of the fact that property crime is out of control and that theft and all of that stuff is out of control. Well, empirically, not what you saw on TikTok, not what you heard, not anything. Empirically, crime is going down. Now, I'm not telling you that you're safe.
Okay.
I would never look at another Black person and say, hey, brother, well, you're safe. It's going down. But I'm telling you, the narrative that things are worse than they've ever been,
yeah,
and that they're skyrocketing, it's just simply not true.
So that's how I don't know how you don't talk about the fact that we're in an election year and how you don't attribute to what's happening to the administration that's in effect. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's in place right now. Yes, you can say crime is cyclical. It goes in waves. It goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. People attribute it to certain things that are happening in society, and that can affect whether or not crime goes up or down. But to your point, it is being politicized in the sense from the right. They're saying that there's more crime in the Democrats or the Democratic liberal-leaning cities, which you just listed statistics out that those cities have crime going down. They'll also say that you can equate the rise in crime, to Biden's immigration policies. That statistically isn't true. They'll take one story and they'll run with it. So you almost have to talk about it in a sense of what's happening under the Biden administration, because that's how they're blaming it on the Biden administration, even if that's not true. And the reason I said, like, a lot of times we talk about the Democrats and their messaging. This is a message that they should be pushing down our throats. One, it's good news that it's decreasing. Like you said, you're not going to say you're safe, but it is great news that crime is decreasing. And since Biden has been in office, he's had the American Rescue Plan. Now, he did give $10 billion towards public safety. But it wasn't just given to police forces. It was used for other things as well to help the community, like support structures for community violence interventions, social support services, investments in job programs and mentoring, which there are studies that show that all of these, when they're not in place or when there isn't a lot of money behind them, can relate to violent crime. Also, he has the bipartisan gun safety law that was signed underneath him. Some can attribute that to the reason that crime has been down. If I'm by the Biden administration, I am pointing to these things. I'm also going to talk about the fact that the economy is improving. Mm-hmm. And when the economy is lower, you sometimes see an increase, or a lot of times you see an increase in crime. That has happened. Also something that is under the Biden administration. Now, I'm all saying this to go back to the first thing I said to you. I wouldn't have known this if we weren't really talking about this, because the messaging, I don't feel like, is out there like it needs to be. And if I'm talking to Democrats here, you got to make sure that this is out there, because this is huge. There's been so much surrounding the fact that crime has been high, and it's particularly related to the Biden administration when they came in place. But the numbers show something totally different. And the Biden administration has actually put things in place to combat that. So we need to be talking about it. It's a good thing for them.
Lead.
Excuse me?
It's about lead.
Oh, okay. Does it?
I am more convinced than ever of the truth of the lead crime hypothesis.
What is the lead crime hypothesis?
We haven't talked about this on the podcast? Okay. So.
I'm trying to figure out why you keep shouting lead at me.
Brownie knows what's up. Okay, so listen. I'm going to try to be succinct, although it's not going to happen. So there was a guy back in the day who was trying to help a woman crank her engine. Cars had cranks. You thought that was something sexual.
Could have been a lot.
Cars had engines and they cranked the engines, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Continue to drive. Well, this guy saw a woman, she needed to crank the engine, and he got down and he was trying to help her crank the engine. And the crank jumped, hit him in his head. A couple of days later, he died. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This guy was a big deal in Michigan, Detroit car maker.
Okay.
This is what happened. A friend of his who was like super destroyed about what happened to him decided, you know what? No more cranks. No more engine cranks. Don't want it no more. Don't want engine cranks anymore. Self-starting engines is what you need. Safer for women to drive, more efficient, easier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Easier. No more engine cranks for the whole deal. That, in a roundabout way, led to something happening to the environment here in America. What happened was they made these self-starting engines. They used spark plugs. And at first, these engines would knock. The engine knocking wasn't only something that was like super duper noisy, but it also reduced the efficiency of the engine. So this guy decided, and other people out there decided, well, we need to fix the engine knocking problem. And they tried a bunch of different things, all kinds of different things. But what ended up working was when they added lead to the gasoline. When they added lead to the gasoline, it fixed the engine knocking problem.
Okay.
All right? Add the lead to the gasoline. You have leaded gasoline. So, you have leaded gasoline. The engine knocking problem is fixed. The lead begins to poison people. Like, the company is founded based upon making leaded gasoline. The guy goes up there, he pours the leaded gasoline in his hand. What people don't realize is the fucking guy was in a sanitarium this entire time.
Jeez.
He was like the leaded gasoline. We have lead introduced into our environment. Lead everywhere. All kinds of lead. Lead here, lead there. We're using leaded gasoline. And you know what we see in the 60s and the 70s on into the 80s, particularly? Historic crime. We see a lot of crime. One hypothesis why is because lead is toxic to your goddamn body. It fucks with your brain. It thins out the membranes in there. All types of developmental issues, IQ issues, all kinds of stuff happens, and people are out there committing crimes crazy. There are economic factors as well, but there's a lot of lead, okay? Unleaded gasoline comes into play like 1986.
Jeez.
And here's the deal. Well, not 1986, before then. But there is a drop in lead exposure in the atmosphere around that time. And if you look at violent crime rates in the United States of America, when lead has been removed from the atmosphere, they have just fucking spiked. They have just fucking spiked. Now, there are other countries that, there are countries that stopped using leaded gasoline in like 2018. Like, there are countries that were behind the curve. We started taking it out, and what you started to see was less lead exposure and just less overall crime. Crime in this country has been on a downward spiral, a noticeable trend of downward spiral since the mid-90s. Since the mid-90s, crime has just started to drop, and level off. And if you go look at the numbers at some of these cities, when you go look at the numbers at some of these cities, and the crime, the murder, the theft, the robbery that they were dealing with in the mid-70s on into the 80s, in terms of like where it is now, it's markedly less. So the narrative that America is some kind of Wild Wild West freak show of crime, we might be that compared to places in the rest of the world. But for us, these are the fucking good old days. And I believe in the lead crime hypothesis. I believe kids were being poisoned and people were, look, it's right here. I'll show it you right here. Everybody look it up. Don't take my word for it. It's another crazy thing that Van read. Okay? Like, I believe in it. Lead is widely understood to be toxic to multiple organs of the human body, particularly the human brain. Concerns about even low levels of lead exposure began in the 1970s. In the decade since, scientists have concluded that no safe threshold for lead exposure exists. All right? I'm just telling you. Just like that guy cranked that goddamn engine, let it gasoline, the whole fucking thing, lead and crime, everybody's going fucking crazy. And now, environmentally safer, crime is going down. This is another reason why we should care about the environmental exposure that people are subjected to. Because those things get in you, they fuck over you. Are you on board with the lead crime hypothesis, Rachel? You don't want to fucking do it. Rachel,
I'm not getting the vibes. I'm not getting the vibes.
Rachel, give me an idea of something that's crazy that you believe that people, that just give me do you ever read something kooky and go, yeah, that makes sense?
The earth is flat.
Nigga.
I'm just
hey, bro. I'm not doing
kidding.
that, bro. I was about to say. Hey, you earth flat niggas got to get fucked. I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey,
I just knew I would get a reaction out of you.
Because you earth is flat niggas. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Y'all got to get fucked. When I say...
Are there a lot of them? I think people just be saying it to say it, to be honest.
I think people are trying to trigger me sometimes.
Yeah, well, I was just now.
But I get conversations from people that go, how do you know it's not flat? How do you know it's not good evidence for? You know what I'm saying? How do you know? Everybody is saying that now. Hey, well, shit, nigga, how you know that didn't happen? Do you know? We don't know. We don't know is not an argument for something.
Right.
Like, you don't know that didn't happen.
I agree. Crypto.
Oh, you fuck with crypto?
No, I mean, like, it's something that I don't. What was your original question?
What,
There's something that's out there that I don't believe, agree. What was it? Do you read something? I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crypto. I don't get it. Don't understand it. When I ask people to try to explain it to me, I get more confused.
The thing about crypto...
Do you have crypto?
I don't. The thing about crypto is that the people get so excited trying to explain it to you and then you can't understand it, that it's intoxicating. Like, if I called Jabril right now...
Not for me.
If I called Jabril right now, Jabril would try to explain to me what blockchain is, and he would be so fucking excited about blockchain. And my best friend and my brother Jabril is just one of the most brilliant guys ever. He's just so brilliant, right? And he like, let me tell you something, Van. Blockchain changed the world. Changed the world. Let me tell you something. You don't even understand what blockchain can do. Imagine being able to trace something all the way back to its origin. Like, you can use it for anything. You can use it for food. You can use it for banking. You can use it for sports. You can use it for this. Okay, how does blockchain work? All right, so what happens is you can take something and you can make it inherently valuable by being able to trace the origin with a specific blockchain number, all the how, why is that valuable? What is blockchain? Okay, you don't understand. This is going to change the world.
Yeah, this is my point.
I get it. How does it work and why? How do you make it? And the thing is, he understands. I'm just not smart enough.
I guess that's what you could say is you're not smart enough. I don't get it. And to add to that, crypto terrestrials.
What's a crypto terrestrial? Oh, the people under the ground.
The ones who are partying under the lake.
Yeah, partying under the lake. You know, there is stuff that I believe in aliens.
I didn't say I don't.
You believe in them?
Sadly, yes. I've come to terms with that, I would say, in the last couple of years.
Is there anything from the Bible that you don't think happened exactly the way it's written in the Bible?
Oof. Jonah.
Jonah and the whale.
Jonah and the whale.
One, right?
You got it.
So it's like hold on, like
Do you
that's the
remember
one.
the animations you would get?
Yeah.
And it was like he had a light on. He was sitting at a table.
At a table and the whole thing.
Where'd he get electricity from?
Yeah. Look,
Jonah and the whale is a tough one.
You know what I think though? You know what I think about Jonah and the whale? I think about Jonah and the whale. This is what I think about Jonah and the whale. Jonah and the whale is that's a tough one. I think about Jonah and the whale. I think about, like God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost are writing the Bible. And Jesus goes, hey, wait a second. And he goes, what? He goes, they gotta believe everything that's in here. And they're like, yeah. He's like, hey man, let's put some wild shit in here. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, let's put some wild shit in here. Let's put some wild shit. Like, Jonah? He's like, yeah, Jonah from over. Yeah, Jonah. Remember when you created Jonah? You put the Jonah. Let's say Jonah was in a well. Let's just mess with them. They so bored, they believe, and they put it in. I think God has a sense of humor.
What's one that you are like, it's tough?
What, in the Bible, like a story from the Bible? Jonah is the most obvious one. Like, Jonah is the most obvious one. But second to Jonah is the ark. And let me tell you why. Second to Jonah is the ark.
It's all the animals.
And yeah.
It's all the animals.
Because the thing that happens is that when you get older, you understand how many animals there are.
You know what I like to think? That we've evolved. So
and that there are more animals now than there were then?
Yes, than there were then. That's what I like to tell myself.
Right. So there was just like no duck-billed platypus then. They didn't have it.
That's one that I think could have made it.
Well, the duck-billed platypus lived. Well, look. Okay, so let's try to make the ark make sense because Jonah is different. Okay, Jonah. Hey, I love God, man. I love Jesus. I should call D1 right now and ask D1 if he thinks that Jonah was really in a whale. Hold on for a second. Like Jonah. Hold on, Jonah. Yeah, Jonah was in that bitch for a while. Hold on, Jonah.
But
God sent a big fish, and swallowed Jonah and saved him from drowning. And then Jonah prayed inside the well. I guess it could happen.
But not the animations we used to get when we had the storybooks. Like, there's no way he had a desk and books.
Jonah was
and
in
a
there
lamp.
writing. So wait. Wait, so hold on for a second. Wait. So I do think that maybe part of this is the way that Jonah's been sold to us. Because when I look at some of this stuff, Jonah's just supposed to be in a big fish. But then when they showed us Jonah in the well, Jonah had like an apartment inside of the well. And I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be.
A full studio. Okay, the ark.
But the ark, so, if we look back at this time and it was Pangea, right? And it was the supercontinent, because I don't know, I guess this would have been Pangea. Mm-hmm. Actually, you know what? No, it wouldn't have been Pangea because Pangea was like millions and millions of years ago. And this is only like, the Bible only spans 6,000 years. So it wouldn't have been Pangea. So the continents have shifted.
Okay.
If we're using the time the way the continents have actually shifted. To gather up all the animals I don't think they had all the animals. Okay. I think if I think that would be tough. Because you got to go get a lot of different animals, man. Insects. You know, you got to get a lot of different stuff. All the animals and
It's
put
a
them on the
lot.
ark.
And what about the ones that were flying?
Yeah. Well, they didn't need the ark. So you wouldn't
Did
need to.
they? I don't know.
Well, it was
It
a lot
said
of
it.
rain. But they probably didn't need the ark because they in the
And
thing.
this was after dinosaurs? Had
Well,
to have been.
Well, the dinosaurs in this. Okay, so let's do a couple of things here. This is funny.
We are turning people away from the Bible.
No, because the 6,000 years, if you look at it, the 6,000 years is basically, that's going to be like, I don't know, if you're talking about like God's years and how you measure the time, it could be any amount of time, right? The dinosaurs would have had to live at some time alongside with the man, which didn't happen. So
there are people who say that in the Bible it says that, talks about beasts.
I mean, there were dinosaurs. They probably had, there were probably dinosaurs. I want to ask this question to somebody because my teacher at Christian Life Academy, Dr. Dyer, used to talk about the fact that he thought that there was a dome of water over the earth, and that's why people lived longer in one part and pre the flood, and then they lived shorter times of life after the flood because God dropped that dome of water onto humanity. And that's what the flood was. And then after that, the times.
Where do you get the dome from?
It's Christian theology.
It's an interesting concept.
It's Christian theology. It's theology. So I'm up for it all. I just don't think that a lot of parts of the Bible are meant to be taken literally. Yeah. I think that Noah and his family existed and they got on there. I think the 2x2 animals and stuff like that. I think some of that is just people freestyling writing the Bible.
Not freestyle.
Just putting stuff in there. Hey, bro, them getting on this boat, that's not, hey, man, say they put all the animals in the world on there. Well, but Haim, that's not going to work. Just say they put all the animals in the world on there. That's dope. And then when you get older, you get to be like 25 and you realize it's a lot of animals, bro.
What about Daniel? No, what about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
That one happened. Nah, you're not going to take Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego away from me. That one happened. Shadrach, Meshach, and that happened just the way they said it. And by the way, oh my God. And by the way, the Bible is real, man. And teachings of the Bible and all of that stuff, it matters. I'm just saying that, like,
yes, when you become you take it for exactly for what it is when you're a kid. And then when you get older, you start to say, That's all.
It's just it's like there's things in there that are there to drive home the point that the text is trying to make. And then there are things that
keep going.
It's just stuff in the Bible. I love and believe in Jesus is the point. The well is tough.
Before I throw out another story, the well is the biggest one, mainly because of what was said to us. But Noah's Ark is a good one.
Noah's
Ark's good.
Noah's good. All right, did you see this? Speaking of the Bible and God, did you see this NFL player who tried to run away from a woman without paying her for sex work?
The Book of Terrell.
The Book of Terrell. What the fuck are you thinking, nigga? What is this nigga thinking? This nigga here must be, this nigga down bad, man. Terrell, bro. Terrell, you fucked up, G. Like,
I don't get it.
Yeah. So in case you guys don't know, Philadelphia Eagle linebacker Terrell Lewis caught on video. Mia Mercy is her name. I guess this is maybe after it went down, or maybe it hasn't. She's naked, so it looks like it's after it went down.
Yeah, but somebody was filming, and it feels like he knew that they were filming. I mean, it didn't seem like the person was hiding the camera.
Well, maybe he was already obvious. Okay, so this is the deal. This guy was a player for the Eagles, Super Bowl champion, actually. But I think he won the championship with the Rams. He allegedly hired some women for sex work. And then when it was time to pay for said sex work, he ran out of the room.
Yeah, he says 1836 and runs. I'm trying to figure out what that meant.
1836?
I thought that's what I heard.
maybe it's $1,836, which I don't know why it would be like that on the number.
That's what I thought I heard.
It's normally round numbers.
But he says it in darts.
From what I hear. So he says it and then he just runs out. Or is he trying to give a credit card number or like whatever what happened?
Oh, maybe he was giving a credit card.
I don't know.
We don't know.
But whatever it was, I read Mia Mercy's Twitter, and if you go on Mia Mercy's Twitter, be prepared for some of the advertisements on there.
Oh, I was shocked. I did. I was shocked. I didn't know you could do all that on Twitter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's going down.
I really didn't know.
Look at you all. Look at you.
No, I just was like, wow.
Initiated into the porn world. You're going to be on BGOL. So whatever, he didn't want to pay, this nigga ran. And you know what the most impressive part of the video is? She hawked him the fuck down.
Barefoot.
Naked. Labia. Titties. Ass. Didn't even matter. She hawked him the fuck down. We talking about Caitlin Clark. We need to be talking about Mia Mercy. Mia Mercy is a fucking athlete. She bam, 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 bam. And this dude is a big, huge NFL guy.
He's 6'5". 260.
260. Hawked him down. Bang, 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 and got him. And then, what did she do? What did you think she was gonna do when you stole from her? Really, I don't know what the rules are, you tell me. That could almost possibly be a sexual assault, right? No? Because
no, she consented.
She consented to the sex. Oh, she consented to the sex. So if you don't pay the money, okay, cool.
But he acquired her services and then didn't pay for them.
But it's what I'm saying is legally she doesn't have any recourse, does she? Because the services, depending on where this is, are probably illegal.
It depends where it was.
Right.
It depends where it was. But that's why you got to get the money up front. So I've heard.
So you've heard. Okay.
Yeah, you paid up front.
But she had seen him a bunch of times before, is what she said.
Did she get paid a bunch of times before? Or was this time for services?
I think what she said was, her exact words were, Terrell's been tricking off for a long time. So he's been tricking off for a long time. It just makes him look like such a lame, cowardly whack nigga. It just look whack, like you look whack.
You didn't pay. You used her. You didn't pay. You know, like, because nobody's here to shame sex workers. She offered a service.
Yeah.
You were willing to pay for it. And then you duck out. You dine and dash.
Yeah. Dine and dash.
Smash and dash.
Smash and dash.
That's unacceptable.
Terrell, we can't do no smash and dash.
Well, they're saying that he's going to lose his spot with the Eagles now. Because if you're a professional athlete and she can run you down like that, it's a problem.
But how can he be trusted?
As a teammate?
How can he be trusted in any type of way? You don't pay your debts.
That should be his punishment.
What?
That they don't pay him up front.
Yeah. The smash and dash on his ass.
That's it.
This created a whole firestorm on Twitter. The nigga was like, man, nigga, that's how you treat them. That's how you treat them. Oh, man, you don't treat them. You don't pay for that shit, nigga. Nigga, I'll smash, nigga. I'll be out of here, nigga. You don't pay them whole, nigga. Pay them whole, nigga.
She was offering a service.
Nigga, pay them whole. And so then he left, and people were like, it's good. This reminds me of Joe Blow, the Lover Man. Do you know who that is?
I have no idea who that is.
You never heard of Joe Blow, the Lover Man?
I'm afraid to even put it in my Google search.
Put in Joe Blow, the Lover Man. Joe Blow, the Lover Man. Put it in. How much and when you see what it is, I wonder how much of this stuff have you seen?
It's a movie?
It's from a movie. Play it.
It's from Dolomite?
From Dolomite. I am Joe Blow, the Lover Man. You should be paying me. Play the scene.
I am waiting for the commercial.
You don't have YouTube Premium?
I noticed that the warden told you that you'd be alone. But Dolomite, you ain't never been alone. When you were doing your time,
that's not even the right shit, man.
I put your girls to karate school. And they are good
That's
too.
not even, hold on, man. Cut that shit off. No.
You ain't worth no $100. I am Joe Blow, the lover man.
You should be paying me,
bitch.
bitch.
Damn.
My money, Joe. Here you go.
Shit,
Times were
shit,
hard.
What money?
What money?
Should I get cut like you all day? A dime a dozen.
Here go
Shit.
$2.
Yeah, here's $2. Go get you some dish powder and keep it clean for me next time.
Oh! And let me tell you something.
See, that's what was being ingrained into young men at an early age.
Here's the problem with that clip from Dolomite. They always cut it off right there. You know what just happened? What happened after that?
What?
That woman beat the shit out of Joe Blow, the lover man. Joe the Blow, the lover man, got his ass kicked. And Smash and Dash Terrell, brother, pay this woman. He should pay her more now.
Well, now she didn't put them all out there. She says she's about to do an interview with
No Jumper.
No Jumper.
So she'll do that. And now her actually, this is probably better for her because her shit probably gonna go up now. I mean, she already had like people that were following her.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, but her shit probably
she could
gonna go
reenact
up.
the scene. She could do a little track and field thing. What? She ran. Why are you looking at me like that? Stop. I'm creative.
Tell you something right now. That's 2 fucking solid porno ideas. One is a reenactment of the scene, which probably will happen. The fact that you know that, though, tells me.
I didn't say I know that. I'm just thinking, to me, it's the logical thing to do.
And then secondly, her as a track star.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a runner. I'm a track star. See? See? I'm telling you. But I will say, I just don't understand it. What do you think she's going to do? Maybe he didn't know he was being taped.
Of course she didn't think that he was... there's no way he thought that she was going to chase after him naked and be able to catch him.
Hawked him down.
Or I said he might have known it was recorded, but he might not have. That's 3 things right there. He just thought he could get away with it. But like, why?
Yeah.
You're a professional athlete, as you said, won a Super Bowl. Pay that woman.
Well, the thing is him being a professional athlete, he's paying for the discretion.
And if he stays on the Eagles team, I fully expect when he comes to play in Dallas.
They're not going to cut him for that.
No, not for that.
Yeah.
But when he comes to Dallas, I fully want to see a mockery of the Book of Terrell.
Like, what I will say, though, is it does seem that there is a lot of, it just seems like there's a lot of professional athletes that are entering into situations with women and not understanding what they have to do to keep those situations kosher and copacetic.
I think that's always been the case.
Probably so, but maybe there was just no Twitter.
Yeah. I think it's always been. This isn't new, sadly. What's the latest update on the BBI? What do y'all got going over there?
So there are some case files that are still waiting to be. Look, I'll say something about the biracial community right now. The biracial community has been more accepting of the BBI than almost anything I've seen.
Really?
The biracial community understands the need for the BBI. They want structure. They want to be policed. They know deep down that we have given a blank check to biracials that started in 2010. And I gotta be honest with you, I've been thinking about this. And for as much biracial representation as there was before this, I do think that the election of Barack Obama had a lot to do with the rise in biracial power that we've seen over the last 14 years. Okay. You had Barack Obama, and then that was 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So Far Gone drops 2009. Okay. By 2011, 2012, Drake is easily.
So he led the movement, is what you're saying.
Obama was the catalyst and the spark. Drake comes along to represent in hip hop, right? Then there's J. Cole. 2 biracial men at the top of the industry. Kendrick, the only one holding it down, right?
So we're talking rap.
No. We're talking rap. Hold on. Wait a second now. But we're talking about other things too, because when you think about biracials now, you're thinking about a whole trough of actors that just come in. Some of them are biracials here. Some of them are biracials from other places. I don't want to say a lot of names, but you guys know these guys when you see them. They let them play Malcolm X. They let them do all kinds of stuff like that. And then you find out that they're about, and it starts to get to the thing that's like, just everybody got a white mama. And it's a thing. And now what's happening is we have the opportunity to contextualize, investigate, and ask the question, has there been a breakdown that's led to this much? Does it even matter? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe one day everybody will be a biracial.
Statistically, that's where we're headed.
Are you okay with that?
I mean, I was married to somebody.
But are you okay with
Yes.
I guess this is my thing. Are you okay with there being no more black people and just everyone's biracial?
I mean, I'm black.
Yeah.
It's like the family picture that we saw where it was the black mother and father, and then they showed their black sons, and then the sons showed their wives, and then they showed their children. And there's the black is gone.
That's going to lead to a whole town of people that are white, but their hair curls a little too hard.
We've been the minority forever.
Mm-hmm.
So if biracial people outnumber us, fine, whatever, I don't care. But I would hate to see a society where we're completely extinct.
Tell you something right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm here for it. All colors, all shapes, all sizes. But we have to make sure that we talk about it in depth.
Okay.
Like we're doing it. Ashley, what's your thoughts? Biracials, how about it?
I'm sorry, y'all.
Love them. Super great.
Okay, just something that we need to pay attention to it. Look, that's enough podcast for today. I think so. David Duke just showed up at a Trump rally.
Next to Trump or just in the audience?
In the audience.
There's a difference.
Do you think it's fair to criticize? Let's do this real quick.
Okay.
David Duke shows up to the Trump rally. I think Nick Fuentes is at the Trump rally as well. We talk a lot of stuff about Donald Trump. Do you think it's fair to criticize Donald Trump for who shows up at his rally?
You can't do that.
You say no?
No. I mean, if he shows up and he's behind the stage, if he's in the VIP area, if he's a part of Trump's entourage, that's one thing. But if he shows up, as he did in this case, it looks like he's there with anti-Semites.
Yes.
That's what I'm reading. If that was Biden, right? And David Duke shows up, what is Biden going to do? Am I going to immediately link the two? It's different with Trump because he has affiliated with David Duke before. So you automatically think, if David Duke's there, he's there because Trump asked him to be.
When did he affiliate with David Duke?
I thought he affiliated with him. I thought he said he knew who he was.
No. So what happened was, we should be clear on this. What happened was, David Duke endorsed Donald Trump in 2016.
They've never met.
I don't know if they've... Look, I'm not saying that they haven't met, but what I'm saying is David Duke endorsed Trump in 2016. And when he endorsed him back then, people asked Donald Trump about the endorsement. Donald Trump said that he never met, that he didn't know who David Duke was.
Yes, I did know he said
which
that.
Was a ridiculous thing to say. We know damn well he knows who he was. He had insulted him before, so he definitely knew who David Duke was. And the way that read was, rather than disavow David Duke or reject the endorsement, he just pretended like he didn't know who he was, as not to offend David Duke and whatever part of the racist base of the right that he might have run the risk of offending.
Okay, so let me say it this way. David Duke has thrown his support towards Donald Trump.
Ardent Trump support.
So it's not shocking that he would be there. It would be shocking, and this is where I would blame Trump, is if he was behind the podium, standing beside him, or part of his entourage. David Duke could very well do this same thing at a Biden rally. And would we be looking at Biden like, oh, he's affiliated with David Duke? Not necessarily. And I'm not trying to do Trump any favors. I'm just saying. Now, Nick Fuentes is someone who has been with Trump, right? Didn't they break bread together?
So there was a dinner at Mar-a-Lago.
All right.
And Nick Fuentes was there. if I'm being totally intellectually fair, the explanation to that is Donald Trump says he didn't know who Nick Fuentes was. So wait a second though. That is actually a little bit more plausible because Nick Fuentes is relatively new on the scene. We're talking about some years now, but like not David Duke ran for governor. David Duke was a big deal. Like he was a whole fucking thing in the 80s and the 90s with who David Duke was. And later on, it came out that it was actually Milo Yiannopoulos that arranged for Nick Fuentes to go to this dinner with Donald Trump to make Donald Trump look bad because Milo Yiannopoulos had some kind of problem with Donald Trump. And so that he knew that Kanye wouldn't be discerning enough to keep Nick away, and so that he sent them down there. So I'm not bailing Trump out for that, but it is plausible that Trump did not know who Nick Fuentes was.
Well, I'm not bailing him out either. I mean, if they show up to his white supremacists, people who support Trump, a lot of them also like Nick Fuentes, also like David Duke. I'm reading right here. He's being cheered as he shows up at a Trump rally.
David Duke is being cheered.
Nick Fuentes is.
Nick Fuentes
I can't say if
cheered.
David Duke is, but Nick Fuentes is. So, can I blame Trump for that?
Can you blame Trump for what?
Was that your question?
Right. So, I guess what I'm saying is this. Two things. There's two ways you can look at it. You cannot blame Donald Trump or any political candidate, any person anywhere for who comes to their party. Unless you're blaming them for inviting people to that party. So I agree with you. The question is, has Donald Trump overtly, inadvertently, or has he overtly or inadvertently invited those people to those rallies? Has he opened his tent to the white supremacists, to the racists, to the bigots, to people like that? That's the question that you have to kind of negotiate and ask and all of that stuff. You have to kind of get into that. You have to investigate that question. Has he opened his tent to those people? Whether or not they come to a rally, if they weren't invited or not, no one can control that.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the only thing that people might come back and say is that they feel comfortable at that rally because they feel a kinship and a oneness with Donald Trump's political vision and the way that he comports himself.
Well, what is the saying? That Donald Trump may not be a white supremacist, but white supremacists think he is one.
He's definitely a white supremacist. So that's enough podcast. Rachel says that you guys are being unfair to Trump and she wants you guys to back off.
I've turned a corner.
Back off. Let me ask you a question right now. Last question. Joe Biden is going to win California.
Okay.
Your vote can't change that.
Mm-hmm.
If someone was going to pay you $200 million to vote for Donald Trump, would you do it?
Why are you asking me this question?
You're in California.
Probably. I'm not stupid. Especially in my situation right now. Like, would you? You're lying. Anybody who said, nah, you would.
This is the question.
I'd take it.
If you're in a state where Trump is going to win, where Trump is going to lose, if you're in California, if you're in New York, your vote won't matter. Could somebody pay you $200 million to vote for Donald Trump? Ashley?
That's what I was just talking to my partner about, because my partner's right next to me, and I was like, okay, that's such a hard question.
I'd sell out.
No.
You wouldn't do
I
it?
wouldn't vote for Trump.
Y'all are lying. Y'all are liars. If it wouldn't change a thing, please.
If it wouldn't change a thing.
That's what Van said. If you know he's gonna win your state anyway, would you do it?
Yeah.
Would you take it? Of course you would. And
I would
Van
take it if it's
too.
not gonna change
He's
nothing.
lying.
You're right.
Boy, I tell you what, nothing's better than putting Rach in a bear trap.
I'd take that money and use it for good, though.
See, I hate y'all niggas, man. I'll take that money and give it to the boys' choir in Harlem. Look,
Now, I wouldn't do all that, but I would do some. That's not where it would go. But I would use it for something to try to balance out what I did.
There it is, guys. You've heard it here first.
Let's go.
Is Brian a Republican?
He did not vote Republican when he was with me. I think he was registered as a Republican before me.
Trump supporter?
No.
Not a Trump supporter?
No.
And you're being fair?
Yeah.
You're being fair
Not
to him.
being fair by saying, I'm almost positive he was because we talked about it. And he was like, yeah, my parents are Republicans. I registered as a Republican when he turned 18.
What if no chance that he was secret MAGA?
It would have been a deep secret if he was. But I don't think so.
What if, you know what's funny? It's funny to think about.
He might be a Republican, but he's not MAGA.
It would be funny to think about you and him watching TV and Trump comes on and the rally's on and you're like, I fucking hate this guy. And Brian's like, yeah, this guy sucks.
He's secretly fist pumping.
Yeah.
His dad is.
Big time MAGA?
And I'm not saying anything that's not out there. He posts stuff all the time.
His dad is big time MAGA? All right, shout out to MAGA, man. Take your hands off. Do not stop learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel and Lindsay. Bye, guys.